Welcome to Chapter 5, Section 8, Multiplying Mixed Numbers. And first of all, this is the key concept that when you are multiplying mixed numbers, you first have to write the mixed numbers as improper fractions. Okay. And this is why earlier in the year, in previous section, I've said that, mixed numbers are good for graphing and for knowing how many wholes. It's easier sometimes to read. But as far as actually performing operations, mixed numbers are actually quite a big pain. So instead, you write as improper fractions and then multiply as you would do with any fraction. So you would have 1/4 times 2/3. And the way this works is you multiply the numerators and you multiply the denominator to get 2/12. And of course, from there, you should simplify to 1/6. So that's how you multiply fractions. Here, we need to multiply fractions in mixed number. Of course, we're going to estimate, and we're going to say 1/3 of 6 is approximately 2. All right, so when we're multiplying, we need to write 6 3/7 as an improper fraction. And so we need to remember, however we remember, we take the 6 and the 7 and we multiply. And then we add that number to the 3. So we got 42 plus 3 is 45/7. All right. And now we can go ahead and multiply. Now here you can see some crossing out. 45 and 3, they have a common factor of 15. Well, I'm sorry, of 3. You could also just simply multiply them. You could say that this is 45 over 21. And then you're going to go ahead and start dividing. Each of these is divisible by 3. You get 15/7. So 15/7 is our improper fraction, which, when you simplify it into a mixed number, let's do 15 minus, not divide by, 15 minus 7. So 15, we're going to subtract 7, and you're going to have 8. That means you took one whole out, and there are 8 wholes left over of the 7. Oh. All right, well, you can see that's still not simplified. So 15/7, we do 15 minus 7 is 8, minus 7 is 1. So I've taken out 2 wholes, and there's 1 left over. So that's 2 wholes and 1/7 left over. And when I compare the reasonableness right there to there, that's what you got. You're pretty close, so we should be happy. All right, let's try this one. 1/4 of, so we're going to estimate 1/4 of 4 should be approximately 1. All right, so to start, 4 and 2/5. You're multiplying the 4 and the 5. You're adding the 2. That's 22. 5 times 4 is 20. Plus 2, that's 22/5. 22/5. Right. Now, we do the multiplying. 1/4 times 22/5. That is 1 times 22. 4 times 5. That's 22/20. And if you then do what we did over here, take the 22, subtract a whole 20 out, and 2 is what's left. So now you've got 1 whole and 2 20ths left over, which is actually 1 and 1/10, which is very, very close to our estimated reasonable answer. Alright, now let's do a story problem. Belinda lives 1.5 times farther from school than Jamie does. If Jamie lives 4 1/5 miles from school, how far does Belinda live? Well, you know that it's 1.5 times farther, so you're multiplying 1.5 and 4 1/5. So, rewrite them as an improper fraction. We're multiplying the 4 and the 5. We're then adding 1 to get 21/5. You're taking the 1.5, you're multiplying, you're adding, and you have now 3 halves. So we rewrite these as 21/5 times 3 halves. Also, don't forget your estimate. You could say that we're looking at basically 4 times 1, which is 4. Now it's actually 1.5, so it's going to change a little bit, but that's more or less about right. It's going to be between 4 and 8. Alright, so now we multiply the numerators. 21 times 3, multiply the denominators. So we have 63/10. Now, simplifying that back to a mixed number. 63 minus 10, 53, minus 10, now, that gives us 1 whole, 2 whole, 3, 4, 5, 6 wholes, and 3 left over. So 6 3/10. So Belinda lives 6 3/10 miles. And if you look at our estimation, somewhere between 4 and 8, oh man, 6 is right in between. So we should feel happy about our answer. All right. A bag of marbles weighs 3 1/4 times as much as a bag of pretzels. If the bag of pretzels weighs 1 1/3 pounds, how much does the marble weigh? So it's the same thing. 3 1/4 times 1 1/3. This time, our estimate of 3 times 1 should be much closer. All right, mixed numbers then. 3 1/4. We times and we add. 13/4. 1 1/3. We times, we add. Becomes 4/3. So now we simply go ahead and do that multiplication. 13/4 times 4/3. All right. Now you can go ahead and multiply 13 times 4. It would be 52/12. And then when you reduce, it ends up being, well, here's 52. Take away 12. It's 40. Take away 12. That's 28. Take away 12. That's 16. Take away 12. That's 4. So we took out 1, 2, 3, 4 wholes and 4 twelfths. That's how this reduces. 4/12. And 4/12 ends up being 4 and I think 1/3. But if you saw a 4 in the numerator and a 4 in the denominator, if there's ever that situation, you can cancel them out and you have 13/3. You don't have to simplify. You're still going to come up with the right answer. 13 minus 3 is 10, minus 3, minus 3, oops, minus 3 is 7, minus 3 is 4, minus 3 is 1. So a whole, a whole, a whole, a whole, that's 4 wholes with a remainder of 3. All right, evaluating expressions. Well, R is 3 3/4. S is 2 4/5. So we're replacing R with what it's equal to, 3 3/4. Placing S with what it's equal to, 2 4/5. And you should be good to go. Good to go by converting to an improper fraction. 12 plus 3, 15/4. 2 4/5, multiply, add. Oh, not 8. It's 10 plus 2. I'm sorry, plus 4, 14. So 15/4 and 14/5. The 15 and a 5. I mean, you could, everyone, do 15 times 4, make it over 20. Or 15 times 14, that is. And you could then reduce from here. Meaning that you could divide both by 10, and you'd get 21/2. All right. If you don't like to do that, you can divide the numerator and denominator by blank and by 2, because 15 divided by 5 is 3, 5 divided by 5 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2, 14 divided by 2 is 7. So 3 times 7 is 21, 2 times 1 is halves. And then you have to do the improper fraction part. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wholes. Oh, wait, no, we're not done yet. So it's 10 wholes, and there's 1 left over. So 10 1/2. All right, almost there. One last time. We're doing n times m. So n is 4 4/7. We're multiplying by 2 5/8. So the first thing, of course, you're going to do is do 4 4/7 as an improper fraction. becomes 30. Oh, that's a bad 3. Becomes 32 sevenths. And 2 and 5/8. 21/8. So you got 32 over 7 times 21 over 8. You can multiply out, but at this point, please look, 7 and 21. Divide by 7. So as I was saying, you can divide this, both those numbers are divisible by 7. 7 over 7 becomes 1. 21 divided by 7 becomes 3. 32 and 8, if you know your multiples, you can divide that by 8. Divide this by 8. And now our denominators are 1. And the numerators are 4 and 3, which is 12. So that is the value after simplification. All right. Please make sure you do the CYUs for 5.8. That's page 288, numbers 1 to 5. All right, good luck.